EarthX, you very well could have saved my life, so appreciate you guys.
Mike Patey had an experience that got me thinking.
Start timer. Alright, so 328, failing the alternator. Low volts, 0 amps.
I simulated an alternator failure to check my battery capacity, but Mike had a real one.
We lost an engine in turbulence, and I had EarthX in there, and thank goodness, Cert. Thanks, EarthX. We had to glide 40 miles from 28,000 feet.
We're among the pilots moving from ancient lead acid to modern battery tech.
The first question we get asked a lot is, are these the batteries that blow up? Is this going to burn down my plane?
Right.
So no, they're not.
I attended the presentation that Reg gave at AirVenture last year, and it was a full house.
Capacity check. This is always, people thinking you need expensive equipment and all this. No, this is very easy. You can use your own airplane and your iPhone timer. You don't need anything sophisticated. So I recommend even experimental customers like that, especially if you have electronic ignition, because, reserve capacity matters. You should always have an idea how long it runs.
Holding on at 12.7 volts for a while now.
Jump on board for a deep dive where we attempt to dispel myths and address concerns about lithium batteries in aircraft. It's been a privilege to be able to share what I'm learning throughout the aviation community over the past 10 years. And for the last 4, I've been an aircraft owner. This is an RV-14 that I fly. And last year at AirVenture, I coordinated with the team from Bose Aviation to help me update the sponsor logos. EarthX has been a great partner, especially as I've started to fly competitive aerobatics. And I wanted to take this opportunity to share some of the things I've learned about their story. So this is probably the coolest place I've had the airplane yet. This is at IAC. There goes Rob somewhere up there. During the air show at AirVenture 2024. And I want to make it clear that this tech is not limited to the experimental category. The latest Cirrus model has EarthX on board. I've broken this episode into chapters, starting with the explanation of the capacity test, which will be intercut throughout.
Alright, so my current setup, I'm drawing 26 amps, so my backup alternator is off. I have avionics battery going off, so that's coming down to 0.
So again, you don't need anything special. You just flip on your normal loads, start a timer.
Start timer. Alright, so as of 328, failing the alternator. Low volts, 0 amps.
I say one of the two things. Go till it hits 12.0 volts. There's no reason to go beyond 12.0. You're already very deeply discharged. Or you go until you're comfortable. So if you want 1 hour, I got 1 hour reserve capacity, go an hour. If you make it an hour, stop and test, log it in the logbook. Yep. These are all the loads I had on, and I made 1 hour.
I was drawing 26 with all this turned on. I got my volts warning, 0 for my backup battery, and main battery is at 13 as of turning off the alternator. This went to 12.9. So if this was real, I probably wouldn't bother with wig wags, but I would want the rest. I could pull the breaker for that second screen, which I think would give me like an extra 1.6 amps, but I'm not going to do that right now. So this waypoint is 20 minutes away, so let's see how many volts I end up at.
Probably one of the biggest concerns people have is about the chemistry, so let's get into that.
Our lithium iron phosphate battery is the safest of the chemistries that are out there today. We'll talk about why our battery is so abuse tolerant.
The reason I'm always using EarthX batteries is obviously when lithium first came out, there were a few concerns. There are a lot of thermal runaways and different issues that could happen with lithium type batteries.
Yeah, the question is on the famous Dreamliner. I love that question. Yeah, the Dreamliner was the first one to use lithium-ion batteries, main chip batteries. They were lithium cobalt oxide. So I won't say much more, but if you saw the chart, lithium cobalt oxide is probably the least safe chemistry that there is.
So yes, for an aircraft battery, safety is extremely important, which is why we don't use that chemistry.
Okay.
Now, why they use that on a Dreamliner? I mean, they also are one of the highest energy density batteries, so you get a lot of a lot of energy in a small packet, but they're definitely not the safest.
That was a long time ago. They've come a long way. EarthX has got battery management systems, all the integrated technology to shut down the cells, save the battery.
But you gotta remember we're replacing 170-year-old technology. So it almost feels like it's voodoo magic when I talk about how much better it is.
So our battery management system, each of our batteries have electronics in it. That electronics is there to protect the battery. What ours does is it protects from over discharge, so you can't completely drain the cell down to 0 volts and damage it. It has overcharge protection, so in a 12-volt battery, that's set at 16 volt. Very intentional there. It blocks incoming charge current. People think that this shuts off. No, there's always outgoing current. Short circuit protection, that's exactly what it sounds like. Accidentally drop a wrench across the terminals of the battery.
For the sake of safety, I'm going to turn my wig wax on. Alright, so just got the yellow on my battery when it went to 12.8. Don't need to leave my power there, I just leveled off. 180. Ultimately, I want to do like an hour test, but I didn't have time today. I'm not doing a full-on cross-country. This is my first chance to fly after a really crappy winter season. Got my whole Santa beard going, as my daughter likes to say, but it was kind of fun this season to just let her rip because we didn't go anywhere and the weather was pretty depressing, so a lot of time at home. But this is my first flight of 2025. Beautiful day.
The only thing that beats a beautiful, clear, crisp winter day in Canada is a Wisconsin summer day with no storms. All right, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
This is basically the highest tech engine in aviation currently, and you're going with the highest tech battery.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. We've tested the battery to full extent. We've had it in so many different applications. We never had any issues. We've only satisfied customer. The system works. It's a very safe battery management system. So no worries from my side on that one. Thanks to EarthX.
There you go. Yeah, I'm happy to work with them too. It's been great.
Battery safety. People have looked up on the internet and they've seen lithium polymer batteries, like with fireballs shooting out the side of the cell, and it's a concern. So that's like the lithium cobalt oxide. That's the green line. So it's putting out a large burst of energy in a short period of time. Lithium iron phosphate is this dark blue. It's a straight line on the bottom of the graph right here. So it doesn't even show up on that. They had to zoom in to the image on the bottom just to show the energy release. So it's very well controlled. It's not, there's no fireballs. There's no fire outside the cell ever. And I mention that because people's idea is always far worse.
Different things can happen depending on their chemistry. So with ours, it's so safe. You can shoot them. You can put them in water. You can drop them for 40 feet, which we've done. We've literally put them in a 2,000-degree fire with a blowtorch for 15 minutes, which we needed to do for the FAA. It'll melt the case, but nothing happens.
Right, so that's key to know because people often are concerned about putting it firewall forward.
Right.
But it's no problem.
It is not a problem. So the battery does actually monitor for heat. It is not a safety issue. It is a longevity issue.
Okay.
So the hotter a battery's temperature is, the shorter their life. So when we talk to someone who lives in Phoenix, Arizona, they know they're only going to get maybe 2-3 years out of their batteries because it's just so hot there.
Right.
Whereas if I talk to someone in San Diego, that seems the happiest place in the world for a battery.
Yeah.
It's not hot, it's not cold, it's not humid. They'll get a long life. So when you put it firewall forward, if it's too hot, that's going to shorten the battery's life. We actually have an alert on these batteries. It's all built in with the battery management system, and that's one of the things it's monitoring is the temperature.
We use that ceramic separator. What that coating does is it makes the plastic separator withstand extremely high temperatures. We have aircraft OEMs or users that say, well, my engine compartment could be almost 200 degrees, Is that a safety issue? It's very, very far from a safety issue. It might be a longevity issue for the battery. Nothing likes extreme temperatures, so it could shorten the service life. So 4 years service life versus 6 or 8 years service life.
There we are, just over 10 minutes into our test. I got pitot heat on today because winter, but not invisible moisture, but anyways, no harm in doing that. Okay, we're still at 12.7 volts. It's been almost 15 minutes. This is a 4-plus-year-old battery, and I think they kind of say, 4 years is kind of where they expect them to start to drop off, but this one's been great. Cranks every time, holds a charge, and I think one of my ignitions has like a tiny ghost, is that what they call it, a phantom draw or something?
We have tens of thousands in the experimental world, so we have a lot of hard data on that. So we really say 4 to 6 years.
Right.
It is not that crazy unusual, but they get 10 years plus. So it can happen.
I think I lose my EIS mag if the battery goes to 12 volts, but I will not lose my P mag, which generates its own power. So my right mag is a P mag or E mag. My left mag is Lycoming EIS, which does require ship's power to work.
I'm in traffic in the Stratford area. This is Catana, Golf Delta Foxtrot Bravo, 3,600 feet, 8 miles to the southeast of the town of Stratford, near Tavistock and Shakespeare.
And Stratford area traffic, you got a yellow RV, 3,500 feet, heading northbound, kind of between Stratford and Tavistock, about to be there.
I got you in sight right now. There's no conflict at all.
I don't see you though.
Yeah, we're behind you, that's why.
That'll be why, okay. I'm indicating 154. How fast you going?
Definitely not even that close. 110. Have fun.
Alright, see you later. Yeah, so in Canada we use 1267 en route in these kind of open, uncontrolled areas, and that's why.
I get asked a lot, what do I need to change in my airplane to make this technology work?
You don't have to change anything. The charging profile for this lithium battery is exactly the same as a lead acid. So it's the exact same thing. You change nothing.
Yeah, that's almost too easy. I can't believe that. Right, because it's literally the only problem you can run into is if you use the wrong kind of charger, which you're not going to find on board the airplane.
Correct. And the wrong kind of charger, again, is one that desulfates, which means really high voltage spikes.
Right.
So you would never find that in a lithium-specific charger. That's really what they eliminated.
Okay.
It's just to make sure it doesn't do that.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the same.
Yeah.
Same as a lead acid charger.
The only thing that they really did, they didn't change the charge voltage. The lithium charger still charges up to the 14.4 or 14.5. They didn't change that. They typically took their lead acid charger, removed the desulfate feature, and then put the name lithium on the charger. So there's really not much different. They're actually just simpler chargers.
So we designed this to be similar in size, so it's the same height and width. You put a foam shim on here, and then it fits right in the battery box you already have.
20 minutes into my test, still hanging in there at 12.7 volts. Very impressive. I kind of want to see it drop to 12.6 before I stop. I wonder if I just set up a hold somewhere. Yeah, maybe I will go hold for a bit. I'll do like distance. I'll do 3 miles. Sure. Alright, so just take a picture of this situation. Let me set my heading bug. I just got myself set up to hold. 200 to go, and I'm heading eastbound, so I'm at 5,500 feet. Oh, there's 12.6. Alright, she just went down 12.6. I'm gonna do one orbit in the hold anyways, just for the hell of it. Okay, so it went down to 12.6 volts at 25 minutes, let's say, because that was probably a minute ago. I missed it happening in real time. I'm gonna do one orbit in the hold.
My test is obviously theoretical, but Mike Patey is an interesting case because he's got tons of experience with both certified and experimental aircraft. He actually helped me inspect and get the cowl back on after AirVenture 2022.
I went through everything with them out here for a few minutes, and everything looks great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you helping us. Well, this is our first time putting the cowl back on with paint.
Oh,
So
let's not nick it up.
And I appreciate him sharing his emergency story to add to this episode.
All right, you guys are set.
thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Good to see you, my friend. I flew IMC all the way down, and if I had a standard battery, it wouldn't have made it. And I don't know how you get out of that, honestly. If I lost all my attitude and a dead engine in a race plane with tiny, tiny wings and hard IMC from 40 miles out and 28,000 feet with smoke in the cockpit, I don't know if I could have juggled that extra 10 balls. So thank you, EarthX. Appreciate knowing all the way down my voltage almost didn't even move, and I'm all solid class operating in that plane.
In the case of my test, I lost about 1/3 of a volt in less than half an hour.
Alright, alternator is coming back online at 27 minutes into the test. 12.6 volts. Alternator is coming back online, and the inrush current is up there for the charge.
The whole way down, I kept looking at the voltage, and every time I looked at it, it was like further relief, because we got halfway down, and I look over, and it hadn't even hardly moved, decibels. And by that point, I was glancing at it as a sigh of relief, like, I'm not even going to be close. I'm going to still have power to do my flaps, my gear. I didn't need to shut off radios and start to flip-flop, and I could still use both my radios. I didn't have to shed one of my radios, switching frequencies. I had so much power that I had absolutely no question in my mind. My gear was going to come down, my flaps are going to work, both my radios are going to work. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Thank you, EarthX. You guys have been awesome. We love your product. I've got it in everything that you have an STC for, and of course, all my experimental aircraft.
77 amps inrush current. I'll my power up to 170. We don't need to be doing that. And I'll turn on my backup battery as well. Bring that back online. Alright, the charge current has come down to 68 amps. It'd be nice if by the time I get home it's back down in the 20s. Done charging. I'll do one more orbit here.
As a comparison, our 12 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery will give you basically the same amount of energy as an 18 or 20 amp hour lead acid battery in an aircraft application. The voltage does drop. I guess the point is that it's very little a drop. So when I talk to people, I say the old school voltmeter that just said, 12 and 14 with a one line, that's not going to work, right? But a G3X displaying tenths of a volt is perfectly acceptable. I mean, you can see that instantly. Maybe it gets down to 13.0, and then it's another 10 minutes, 5 minutes, it's 12.9, and another 5-10 minutes is 12.8, and another, just keep going. So you can track it coming down, and it's very controlled, like I said. The voltage drop is very controlled, so you can see it's kind of linear, right? So you can kind of track, like, oh, well, at this rate, to get to 12.0 volts, going to be another hour. Just monitoring voltage is a really, really great way to do that.
13.8, and yeah, so now the charge amps are coming down. That is cool, man. Just like that. There we go, so we got to the full charge. Very cool. That's amazing. Alright, 14.1 volts, and my amps are coming down 34 currently. I'm expecting to see 26 by the time it stops.
Yeah, what's the difference between certified and non-certified? So, $100. Yeah. Yes, correct. Just like everybody's product, yeah.
The STC updates.
STCs, yeah, we've been working on STCs for a long time. We have an AML STC program for 12 volt and 24 going right now. The 24 volts, the most recent should have a Cessna 172 this week for 24 volt. 12 volt aircraft, we have a ton of STCs already, and there's probably 24 more aircraft in the works. Pretty much any aircraft that have had at least 3,000 production aircraft is in the works right now.
Running traffic chug up Alpha overhead the field. I'm going to join the mid right downwind 3-2 Burlington, full stop. Okay, anyway, I'm in the pattern, sterile, but my experiment is over. I'm at 28 amps, battery's back to 4.1 volts. That worked perfectly. Gas undercarriage mixture prop switches. I'm secure. Traffic is that guy.
Burlington, turn left to Tango, clear runway 32.
Burlington traffic, track up Alpha, final 3-2, full stop Burlington. Full flap selected. Gas undercarriage mixture, prop, switches, unsecure. Nobody's on board.
I tried really hard to make this a tight edit, but obviously it still really didn't scratch the surface in terms of how much information is available about this new technology, so we're going to watch the comments closely and try to answer any questions.
Got line left to center line.
We built this airplane in a museum surrounded by warbirds with a matching paint job, which is why I've made it sort of an honorary yellowbird. The technology on board in terms of the airframe built out of aluminum and rivets, and an internal combustion engine that's not that much different than what was available in the 30s and 40s, makes it fit in with the fleet. But of course I'm flying behind glass avionics with high-level automation and a massive leap from antiquated lead-acid battery technology that EarthX provides. Check out their website, linked in the description, for more information and to learn about what battery can fit your aircraft. Until the next one, keep your flight chops sharp.
Running to traffic, Charlie Golf Alpha, down and clear, all runways, Burlington. God, that wind suck.